So, welcome to this meditation class. This is not a class that I have taught before in this way. Um, I have been meditating since I was 22, and actually, since earlier than that, the first meditation I ever was exposed to was Vipassana. And Vipassana is where you focus on your breath, kind of like your in and out breath through your nose, and just kind of focusing on that space of your nostrils where you feel the air moving in and out. And you can do that for hours, days. They often have silent retreats where you can meditate just focusing on your breath. But the real meditation when I really got deep into it, it was a meditation of the sound current, and it was connected with something called Shabda Yoga, the yoga of the light and sound. And we chanted this particular name in silence, and it was I guess the purpose was to connect us with our eternal nature. And in this recognition that with our physical being, the physical body is most attached to our chakras below our third eye, like from here and down. So, in this meditation technique, which we're going to practice today, we focus on the third eye just above this brow point, with the idea that just like with the Kabbalistic tree of life, the spheres overlay the body. With this meditation practice, we're in the awareness that different levels of our consciousness overlay the body. We have the causal, which is that space where we kind of come into form, the reason for our being. We have the astral, which is maybe it's the causal, astral, mental, etheric, and then soul. And in this schema, the idea is that the soul realm is where our eternal nature is anchored. And when we focus in the soul realm, that helps us to lift our gaze above the attachments of the physical material world. And when we kind of lift our gaze above those things, it's almost like the medicine of the hawk, which flies us high above the earth plane so that we can see the bigger picture. So the idea with this meditation is it can help detach us from some of our entanglements with the worries and concerns of the world and help us to focus on our higher nature. And that was just the introduction to the practice. I ended up doing a meditation along the lines of Shabda Yoga for 13 years and for many hours a day. And that is in the lineage of Singh is the last name. I do have pictures and a presentation about him, but Sawan Singh, and he was a lineage holder in India with the yoga of Shabda Yoga. And so that had been just such an influence of mine. I used to teach these meditation classes focusing on this particular name of the divine. And but it was only more in the last year, when I've been studying Gnosticism, that I came across, and I've mentioned before, if any of you've heard me talk about the Pistis Sophia, some of these Gnostic texts, and there's a name in these Gnostic texts that sounds just like this word that I was given for meditation. And so, thank you. When I started to kind of tune into this, it felt like there was some kind of semblance of kind of truth that comes through different traditions. Obviously, Gnosticism wasn't an Indian tradition. It was more in the Middle East and Egypt, Persia, Turkey. And so to hear that there's the same name in these different traditions um, kind of brought my awareness back to this practice. And this is a practice that I'll do like in the middle of the night when I wake up, and it refreshes me. It's a practice that really can lift heaviness and density, lift us out of our heaviness and density. And so to give you the word, in the sound current tradition, the word that we used was you, spelled H-U. And then in the Gnostic tradition, the word is you, spelled I-E-O-U. And it was interesting how I even stumbled upon this Gnostic book of you. I was working with a teenage client, and I was going to give her a meditation practice. And, for any of you who've worked with me, we're chanting, we're doing all kinds of mantras, we do things all the time. So I had in my mind what I was going to give this teenager for meditation. And in the moment that I had to say the word I was going to have her speak, I said you. And it wasn't a meditation I have given in like 15 years. And so we did that meditation, and she had a really like a connected experience with herself. She felt at peace, and which was really uncharacteristic for what she had been going through. So then the next day, I come across this book of you in the Gnostic texts. So I just love when things like that happen. It's like the universe, these synchronicities of just, there's kind of this path or this breadcrumb path that's showing us the way forward. And so, I had listed in the description, different types of meditation techniques. And so, there are many kinds. There is, focusing on your breath. There's focusing on anything, really. You can focus on your heart. You can focus on your third eye. You can do a walking meditation, which is where you're focused, maybe on a concept or on a question while you're walking for a period of time. Meditation is the directed focus of your consciousness. And in the way that we use meditation, it's often to shift energy and to uplift. So today we're going to do a silent meditation practice where we'll be chanting a word just repeated inside of our consciousness. And then in 2 weeks, we'll do breath work and sound, where we use breath work, we use sound, we use movement as a meditation technique. And you can use singing as a meditation technique. It's really anything that is directing our focus. And the benefits of meditation are the relaxation of the nervous system, the calming of the body, bringing peace, bringing clarity, bringing guidance. And in these times that we're in, it's also an opportunity in the way that we're using this meditation today to kind of plug into cosmic consciousness, that we see a lot happening in the world around us. And, there's lots of strife and confusion and disheartening events. And if we get too caught up in the narrative that we're viewing around ourselves, it can be really heavy. It can be hard. We can lose our way. So meditation gives us the ability to plug in with higher consciousness so that we can stay on track. It's almost like every time we go into that meditative space, we get disentangled for a moment from what we've been struggling with, and our load is lightened a bit. And so today we're going to practice this technique, and we're going to do it for like 30 minutes so that you can have the experience of what it feels like for you. And then, I'll ask you about that experience to see if there was anything you noticed. And the reason I wanted to bring this forward is because I've been using this for more than 20 years. And it's like there are times when I'm really not sure what to do, and I will just do this meditation, and it it clarifies me. It takes me out of whatever my worry state is, and brings me a higher perspective. So I pray that it feels helpful for you also. And so I wanted just to read something about, so you, Hu, is an Egyptian name for God. And in the Gnostic tradition, there are two books of you, of I-E-O-U. And so just going to read a little passage from one of the chapters in the book of you. He has emanated this true God. He will be called you. And afterwards, my Father will move him to bring forth other emanations, so they fill these places. This is his name, according to the treasuries four, which are outside this. He will be called by this name, that is to say, the true God. So in Gnosticism, you is meaning the true God. So however you orient in your own belief systems, you know, what we could call God could be called source, cause, the origin point of our nature. So this isn't about worshiping an external force outside of ourselves or putting our belief system somewhere, but it's in the recognition of the truth of who we are. And in the Egyptian cosmology, there's this idea of human being and Hu, man, Hu being God, in this context, that human actually means God-man. And that Hu-man, in this truest sense, is the five-pointed star, is the pentagram. So when we stand with our arms outstretched and our legs open, we're like that Da Vinci drawing. And, you know, our head then becomes at the apex. So then when we activate our God self, we are restored as the light, as the stars, as our higher nature. So working with you is activating that God portion of our human self. So we'll just be chanting you silently inside your mind. You can say, like, you can elongate it, you can do you. You can kind of play around with it, whatever feels right for you. And the idea is that we are going within. They say that that most of the world in the physical material plane, our emotions cycle down and out. Our energy cycles down and out. Our sexual energy usually cycles down and out. And so in other practices we do together, we'll inhale, we'll hold the breath, we'll squeeze the root and pull the navel toward the spine. That is reversing that action of down and out to in, and then we see the energy coming up our spine to our third eye. That's bringing it up. So today, we're not going to use a lot of physical techniques. We're just going to be focusing on the third eye, the idea being that that energy is being directed in and up. So our eyes will be closed, so we're not having our focus in the world around. We're having a moment to quiet down, to drop into our center, focus on our third eye. And while we're focusing on our third eye, chant you, just over and over and over again. And if you drop your focus, if you forget about your third eye, no worries, just come back. And you can imagine that there's a little sun at your third eye. Just a beautiful, bright, brilliant light. And so we're seeing our third eye illuminated and chanting you. And we'll do just the tiniest little invocation before we begin. And then when we end, I'll ask you to bring your awareness present, and then I'll lead us through a little concluding process. And the idea is that we are just giving ourselves the permission and entering into safe and sacred space where we can access our inner guidance system, our true nature, where there's nothing to do, where our divine intelligence just has a hand outstretched for us. And for a moment, we're just like letting go of the reins and letting ourselves be carried by spirit. And it's called the sound current because the idea is that there are these sounds that emanate throughout the unseen world, and that we can be carried by these sounds through different levels of consciousness. So, even listening for the inner sounds could be the sound of a chime, it could be the sound of a violin, it could be whatever it is. But the act of that listening to the inside of ourselves opens up something. So it's not about what you hear, it's about just the act of listening. So before we get into the experience, does anyone have any questions? Need any further clarification? Heidi.
So just to be clear, I've heard the word hue before, but in the pronunciation, it's the H is silent, it's just the U.
And how, so in this context, and so when you've heard it before, have you heard it like you can pronounce the H, like hue?
Yeah, it was sort of sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah, so there's also something called Ekonkar and Sant Mat, where they use the hue or the U meditation. The original way I was given the instructions where you can chant U, either just U, or you can chant HU, HU, HU. And then as I came across the Gnostic teachings, when you're working with a silent meditation, whatever feels most alive for you, whatever you feel most connected to, is the thing that will carry you. It's like we're riding something. We're riding something. There's like we're tuning into this force of the divine that's carrying us for this moment. So where you have your connection and what feels most alive, then we're inviting that relationship so that it can carry us. And in this case, because I've been doing this for so long, we're kind of being carried on things that I've come in contact with. And I highly encourage you to have your own experience. And if there's a mantra or something that really has deep meaning for you, say you have a strong connection with Shiva, then you can do this technique, focus on your third eye, and Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. It's about this technique drops you into that passageway so that you can be carried by this higher force that you have a relationship with. Today we're going to try it with you, and again, you can try it with other things. Does that make sense? Great. Thank you for your question. Okay. So let's rub our hands together. They say that the purpose of yoga is to prepare the body for meditation. So we're not going to do yoga today, but sometimes before you drop into meditation, it's nice to just move your body a little bit to get the kinks out. So let's shake out our hands, and you can shake out your head and just shake whatever needs to get shook. Okay. And you want to get comfortable. So, a place where you feel like your back is supported. Ideally, we would uncross our arms and legs. You have your feet either flat on the ground. It's okay if you're sitting like in an easy pose, like a yoga pose. That's fine with your legs crossed. Just have your hands not crossed, or we don't want to block the energy flow. The idea is that we're in this kind of open state. And we'll close our eyes and connect with our breath. And connect with our central column, this column of energy that runs from our crown to our root. And feel this central column illuminated with white light. And just noticing whatever you've brought with you into this moment. Any worry, anxiety, questions, hopes, dreams. Just giving yourself permission to be fully here, that all of us are welcome. All of you is welcome. And connecting in with the light of the sun. With the light of the sun as a symbol of divine intelligence, of creator, of source. And then feel that light of the sun pouring into your third eye. And then see your own sun illuminating your third eye. And you can project this sun forward from your third eye about a foot in front of you. And then bring the sun back to your third eye, back to your pineal gland in the center of your brain, and further back out of the back of your head. So you can move this light forward and back through your third eye chakra. Your third eye chakra, which sits at the space of your pituitary and pineal gland, and that emanates both forward and back. Forward being our third eye, and back being our zeal point chakra, the space at the back of the skull, which connects us with dream time travel and unseen awareness. So continue to focus on the sun while we chant the word you. And to begin, I'll just say one short sentence of invocation. And then you can go into your own inner practice, sitting inside of yourself, resting back into your center, focusing on your third eye. And we say, God Most High, send us your light and guide our way. You can continue to chant the word you. And we'll do this for about 20 minutes. And you can bring your consciousness present while keeping your eyes closed. And there is a column of the light of the Most High in the center of the space. Whatever karma or negativity has been released here today, let it go into this column of light and be taken up into the higher realms of the light of the Most High and transmuted by Spirit. Tell yourself it's okay to let it go. And now inside yourself, ask for any guidance or clarity that you may need and place it into the column of the light of the Most High and let it go. And we give deep gratitude to all beings, seen and unseen, known and unknown. We give gratitude to the great architect of the universe. We give gratitude to ourselves for being here today and for our bravery in walking this path of life. And seeing yourself filled with light, seeing your mind, your emotions, your family, all of your life circumstances filled with light. And inhale deeply. Hold the breath, squeeze the body. And exhale, shake out the hands and open the eyes.